Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. Hello, everybody. Before we begin this podcast, there's just something that I have to say. Kristen and her family, which in my opinion is the new American family, I am really irritated that this American family, it's a blended family to be sure, but this American family has to live in fear, negativity, and hate about who they are. And they are upstanding citizens of our country. They deserve better than this. They deserve better than this from all of us. I only hope that you will listen to this podcast and begin to understand what people in our country, good American citizens, upstanding people who are treasures to our community, what they face, and the fears that they legitimately have about what's happening in today's society. I hope that you'll listen to it in its entirety. This is important. Don't write it off. With that, my interview with Kristen, the great new American family. And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald, and I was looking for a new way to open the show, but I guess that one works just fine. And today's show is going to be, we've entitled it, The New American Family. First of all, let me introduce to you my guest for the hour, and that is, I'm not going to use her last name. Her name is Kristen, and I wanted to say, hi there. How are you?
Hi, Kevin. Good, how are you?
Now, good. Now, before we begin, I want to go way back to the mists of time. I met you in 2003. That was a long time ago.
Gosh, that was 16 years ago.
Yes, it was. And you were a 20-something woman, single mom.
I was a baby.
You were?
I can't do that math. But I was 27, 28. Wait. I don't know. I was a baby. And not only that, you had a baby, and you were the mother. I did. I had a little baby.
Beautiful 3-year-old boy.
Mhm.
And you came to work. You came to work with me and Nicole and some other folks, Darla, at Positive Talk Radio, and we were trying to get this thing off the ground, and unfortunately, it never did get off the ground. But if you would like to listen to her back then, you can go to the final episode of Positive Talk Radio, which is on podbean.com for my independence report. So you can go listen to that if you would like and get a real sense of the doom and gloom that we felt that day. But 16 years later, she is the epitome of the new American family that I'd like to talk about, because she, first of all, you have a wonderful husband. His name is Rex, right?
I do.
And how did you meet Rex?
We met on Match.com, believe it or not, 12 years ago. Really?
Well, so that's a commercial for Match.com, because it seems to have worked out really well for you.
Maybe I should have said that, but yeah, we did. And I was telling the story last night at dinner. When I went to meet Rex, we were meeting at P.F. Chang's. I kind of at the point resolved to the fact that it was just going to be me and my son, and screw dating. I was done with dealing with men, and I was going to be fine being single and have a child. And I went to go meet Rex, and I was like, let me just get this over with. And he impressed me. And there was a second date. And after the third date, he never went home. So I knew something was different. And he hasn't. He's still with me.
He hasn't gone home yet.
No, he's home.
So now, and by the way, I abhor labels, but because this isn't TV, Rex is an African-American man, correct?
He's from Jamaica. So he should be Jamaican American. Why are they going to call him African American?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. And ultimately, his heritage is Jamaican, but he is 100% American.
Absolutely, yes.
And you are a wonderful white girl, Irish background, right?
Irish Italian.
By the way, that's quite a combination. Jamaican and Irish
I've heard
Italian.
That.
I bet you when you guys fight, you really fight.
We don't fight that much, thankfully. We have disagreements, but we've learned how to communicate over the years with some help.
You have. Well, and also you had a 3-year-old, and now you've got another boy.
He's almost 11.
And I hear he's a hell of a hockey player.
He is. He's doing so well. He's really doing well. He's another Jamaican American, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
he considered a Jamaican American?
I don't know what you'd call him, but that's, see, you are, now me as a bus driver, I get to see mixed marriages and blended families all the time. And that is the new American family. That is where we're going. And by the way, that scares some people to absolute death.
That's too bad.
It really is, because you guys have a lovely home. You have got a great job. Rex has got a great job. He's a fabulous cook. You've got a son who is in acting school in New York City. Tell us about Jordan.
Jordan is 19 now, and he is spending the summer in New York City learning more about his craft. He is in college getting his Bachelor of Fine Arts. So he is studying acting. He's also working on his vocals and his singing. He is a gifted young man and doing quite well. He has about a year and a half, 2 more years to go, and then he will be seeking his dream, which I fully believe we will all see him and we will all know who he is, God willing.
I believe that you are correct. He is what I term a triple threat. He's actually a quadruple threat because he can act, he can sing, he can dance, and he also, for the ladies out there, ain't bad to look at either.
No, he's quite good looking, and he's an incredible human being. He is a growing philanthropist, and he's wonderful. He's just the kind of person that you want to be a leader, and he's very genuine. And I'm excited to see what he does and who he helps and, what kind of influence he can make amongst his peer groups, because he made quite an impression on his high school.
Well, and I want to have Jordan on in a future podcast, but I do want to just mention the one thing that got huge notoriety around here, and that is that he was, and you tell us the story, but tell us about his homecoming kingdom and what he did.
So his senior year, which was, he graduated in 2018, so it was September, October 2017, and he was nominated and he was crowned homecoming king that year, and he abdicated his crown to a student, a friend of his who was a special needs student who was in a wheelchair, who could not speak and had to speak using a, I don't know what you call them, almost like a little remote on the wheelchair. And he gave up his crown to that boy, and it was beautiful. The interesting thing about that is the boy, Caleb, I believe was his name, he and Jordan both had asthma as children, and Jordan spent many nights, we were in children's quite a bit with his asthma. Same thing with Caleb, only Caleb, left him unable to speak and some brain damage. So the two of them started out their life very, very similar, fighting the same battle. And Jordan was fortunate enough to be able to get out of that, and Caleb, wasn't. So they had a commonality, they had a friendship, and Jordan just really felt like he wasn't as deserving of the crown as someone like Caleb was. So he gave his crown over to Caleb, and it was beautiful. I was so proud of him.
Well, he got that heart of his from somewhere, and I know where that somewhere is. Would you like me to tell you? Because it was great. I had the opportunity to sit down with the four of you and to have lunch together. And I tell you, not only are you an all-American family that I think we should all be proud of, but you specifically are a hardworking person. Now, when I met you a long, long time ago, you were not gainfully employed. You were struggling, and I think that's
right.
Fair to say.
Yeah.
And now, today, you have done yourself proud. You now work for the government in Snohomish County. You are, and by the way, if we have to terminate this podcast early, it's because you're taking a call from the crisis hotline that you are volunteering on right now, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
And that's where
everybody in the country is in crisis right now.
That's right. Everybody's just, because we made America great again, everything's just perfect.
Oh, everything's lovely. Yeah.
So you are volunteering for the crisis hotline, and you do that on a regular basis. And so you get to talk to, same as I do on the bus, you get to talk to people that are really having a crisis. On the bus, not so much, but for you, they're really having a crisis.
Oh, they're absolutely in the middle of a crisis and not even sure, which way to go. They could have just been beaten half to death and are terrified to call the police, or are hiding in a closet wanting to know what to do. I've had calls from loved ones whose family member was shot down and killed. I got a call recently from a grandmother whose granddaughter, they were home and someone came in their home and shot and killed her granddaughter.
Oh,
and and this can happen at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So, crisis doesn't have an 8 to 5 time clock, right?
Right.
So it can happen at any time, and I'll do it for as long as I can, because I want to be there. Someone needs to be there for these people, and I want to do it. I want to give back to the community in any way that I can, and I feel like this is the best way that I can serve the community and that I live in, and those that are struggling and needing someone to be an advocate for them.
Do you remember that heart thing that I was talking to you about just a minute ago? That's where he gets it from, is from what you do. What you
Walked
do.
into that one too.
Yeah, he did. Because Kristen, I don't know that, and I am so proud to have known you, and we went through some episodes on Positive Talk that I think impacted both you and me and the other people that were part of it, because you really became, and you have become, a real role model for a lot of people, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But there's one thing that concerns me. Oh, yeah. I can only imagine, but there's one thing that concerns me. You live in the greatest country in the world, in my opinion, and you live and you love the people that you are with, and it's a mixed race family, and you're both working, you're both taxpayers, you're both doing well, your kids are not on drugs, they're in school, they're doing some great stuff, you've got kids with a wonderful heart. Kristen, why are you scared?
Because it may not be accepted for much longer, because I feel like if we keep going backwards as rapidly as we are in this country right now, that people might start looking at me and my husband when we're just at Costco and shaking their heads, or they might, not agree with our marriage and feel that they have a right to say something to us, and that scares me. I'm scared already when my husband's coming home from work and it's dark, or even if it's not dark, and he's driving his truck home, I'm always like, please God, get him home. Please God, get him home. Or when Jordan was home and driving, please God, don't let him get pulled over. Please God. And if he gets pulled over, hands on the wheel, hands on the wheel. Please, Jordan, remember, hands on the wheel. So it's terrifying right now. And I don't know that we're getting any better. I wish that we were, but in all honesty, I don't know.
I'm afraid to say that it's getting worse. But before I go into that little bit, I just wanted to let everybody know that while we were having lunch, this topic came up, and Jordan looked at Kristen and said, "Yeah, Ma, I got pulled over," and he had not told her that story, and the reason he had not told her that story is because he did not want to scare her and for her to feel badly about it. So he kept it to himself. But you should have seen the look on her face, and she just went really white and really pale, because that is a very real concern amongst everyone of color in this country right now.
Mhm. It is. And when he told me that, I felt sick to my stomach. Obviously, he was sitting in front of me, so I knew he was okay. But even knowing that he got pulled over, and I didn't know that was happening at that moment, I think I would have probably thrown up. I would have been so scared, because I would have been almost in hysterics. Please let him go. Please let him live. And it's a very real fear.
It is.
And I have to live with that. And at night I pray about it. And, throughout the day, I'm always just wanting to check in with my family. Where are you? Just want to make sure you guys are okay. And they know that they're just, my husband even knows when he goes, he's a mover. So when he unloads, when he loads, he just kind of checks in. Hi, babe, unloading now. All is good. See you at dinner. It's just because we are so unsure right now.
It just dawned on me that it must be really frightening for both of you. He's a mover, right? So he takes his big truck and he goes in front of this house, and he starts taking stuff from the inside of the house and puts it in the truck. It must be really kind of scary to know that at any moment a police officer can come by and say, "What the hell are you doing taking stuff out of the house?"
Yeah, this is a big black man who's unloading a house. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he doesn't like to work after dark because it's his safety. I mean, it's kind of hard, but it's also what the perception of someone, what that might be. And sometimes he will just use his Ford F-150 for smaller jobs. Can you imagine how that might look to some people at some times? And it just takes that one person, just one person, who doesn't agree with it, and your life could be completely changed.
Or that one guy who does a 911 call and says, there's a black man in my neighborhood and he's loading up a thing from my neighbor or from down the street, and you guys need to come and talk to him. It's frightening to when
Kevin,
you put it into
happened.
that context.
That happened when I was a 911 dispatcher. Yes, it did. It happened. It was an elderly woman that called, and she said, "There's a black man walking down my street." And I said, "What is he doing? Just walking down my street? Is he going up to any doors? Is he looking in mailboxes?" And she was like, "No, he's walking down my street." And it was just, I had to sit there and I was shaking my head like, okay, that's not a crime. But to some people, it is, and it's scary for them to see somebody of another race. And that scares me, because they're not going to be afraid to see me, but if they see my husband or my children that don't look like me, that might frighten them. And that's terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Well, and in this day in our culture, we are being driven by a president of the United States who deals in hatred, division, and fear.
Mm-hmm. He's ruling with fear.
He wants to divide people. He wants people to believe that if you are, you know what scared me really badly the other day and made me so angry was he was having a rally, and he was talking about a congresswoman, and
I know what you're talking about.
And the chant started like when Hillary, lock her up. The chant started,
yep.
Send her back, send her back.
Yep.
I couldn't believe that this was the United States of America and that was allowed, or that he looked like he was relishing the moment, that he had done what he came there to do.
He said that he quickly picked up from where he left off and continued talking. And then when you watch it back, he paused for a good long time.
MSNBC and CNN. Yeah, MSNBC and CNN both timed it at 13 seconds.
Yeah,
he stood there
a long time. Yep.
So he loved
what he was doing. He was starting that.
He wanted it to happen.
But did you see when she came home in the airport? Did you see how people said, welcome home?
Good will always, always, always defeat evil. The light will always, but unfortunately, it takes certain things to happen to wake people up. And that's one of the things that it does take a movement. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on and talk about the new American family, because you guys are the epitome of what we should all be really proud of. And that you have to, it makes my blood boil when you have to live in fear that the people that you love, that are doing everything right, everything correctly, that you have to be in fear for their safety anytime that they're out and about. That's, in the United States of America, that's just wrong.
It is. You shouldn't get butterflies just because your spouse is coming home from work, or your son is going to the movies. Yeah, and I can tell you, especially when Jordan's home from school, I'm on edge, and I try to talk myself down from it. I can't. I cannot. It's really hard.
All it takes is one moment. And then while we were having lunch, and because, see, being a short, fat white guy, I don't think that I'm a threat to anybody. But I mentioned the time that I got pulled over by a motorcycle cop, and I thought that the motorcycle cop had caught me speeding, but I didn't think I was speeding, so I jumped out of the car and started walking towards him. Now, if I
can't believe you did that. Oh my gosh.
Didn't even think twice about it. But if I were a person of color, he would have pulled a gun on me. I'm sure of it.
Oh, it makes my heart just stop, because that is, like, in our household, you don't do that. That is an absolute no-no. Are you asking to be killed? You do not do that. Hands on the wheel. Stay focused. Look straight ahead until you're being spoke. And then look. Be respectful always. Hands on the frickin' steering wheel. Do not reach or grab anything. And God, don't ever get out of the car.
I find it incredible that you have to even have that conversation with, number one, a U.S. citizen, and number two, somebody that they're doing everything right. It's the state of where we are right now that is just, it's icky. It's not right. It needs to change, and we need to be the change.
I agree. Rex and my husband and I just had the conversation last night, because I've been having bad dreams, and I finally said, look, I'm having some bad dreams, so I need to can you just reassure me, if you get pulled over, you know what to do? And he's like, yes, babe, I know what to do. And I'm like, you don't have to answer any questions. I know. Hands on the wheel. And I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure that that this is still fresh in our brains. And this was just yesterday, Kevin. I mean,
I know.
It's crazy. But it's crazy that I have to have those kind of nightmares, because they're very real, and they're very real fears.
Well, it's crazy that you have to have that discussion with a 40-year-old man who is an American citizen who, if he gets stopped, his life can literally be in danger if he gets stopped and he faces the wrong guy. Now, and this is not, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is not cop bashing. But we are talking about is the very real fear that people have based upon media reports, based upon what they've heard from friends and family, and it's a scary time, and it is worse when it is being condoned and also I guess the best way to say it would be propagated by the top guy in the country, who it's becoming clear is a racist, or he's at least making racist statements. And nobody if you're not white, you're just not good enough, and then therefore they can send you back. It's just we live in a really tough time. So, but
it is, and I've always been pro law enforcement. I used to work as a 911 dispatcher, and I think law enforcement, they don't get paid enough. They put their life on the line every day, and I respect them so much. Even having those ties to my law enforcement family, I still have this fear, because it just takes one person, one human being, because they are humans with their own personal biases, to have a bad day or to feel like they want to rough someone up. It just takes like one person.
Well, and I'll tell you, if somebody wants to rough up Rex, they're going to have to be a pretty big dude to do it. He's a big guy. But at the same time, that also means that they're going to. I could just see a 5'3" cop, coming up against him, and then I just he's just a big guy. And so, but and the police do the best that they can. And the other problem that we have is that they do, and I'm a bus driver. I depend upon police if I have a problem on the bus. And everyone that I come in contact with are really, really good people, and no, they don't get paid enough.
No.
But at the same time, all it takes is, like you said, is just one. And so I guess the question I would have for you is, how do you think that we can get out of this really negative pattern that we are in as a country?
Honestly, we do not reelect Donald Trump, for one.
Well,
because I think that has spewed so much hatred and fear that has ignited so many people who've been maybe, just sitting quietly, thinking their beliefs are kind of old school and not saying anything. But he has awoken this mass people to just feel like they have a right to be ignorant and racist and sexist and do whatever they please. So I think, first of all, the leader of our country, it needs to go. He needs to go away. And I think that after these last few years with him, it's going to take somebody who can kind of reassure this country, calm people down, speak positively, because there needs to be a new mantra. It needs to be something new. And out with the hatred and the fear, and there's got to be some hope. There has to be. And some, I don't want to say promise, but there's got to be some light at the end of all this. And I think honestly, I think it starts there, because that person is in the media every day. And the media reaches gazillions of people across the world. So his voice is being heard, and his disgusting rhetorics are being heard, and it has to stop.
And he will not get off Twitter. He will not stop lying. He will not.
No.
See, the President of the United States, this is the way it's supposed to work, is that you run a campaign against your opponent, which was him and Hillary. And you do, you have a campaign, and you're highlighting differences in policy. You don't call people names. And then when you become president, you're president of all the people, not some of them.
Right.
What he said,
Right.
what he said about Baltimore just yesterday, which was it is an infested pigsty. And Baltimore primarily is black, and or a large portion of it is, and so he is creating less than. He's creating the other, the fear of the other, that we are better than, and you've got these guys that are sitting someplace. You're going, that guy is a really cool guy. He's saying stuff that I've thought for years, and he's getting away with it. So maybe I can do that too. And you're right. It's scary. My son is taking a traveling job, and he's in Houston this week, and he's like, Dad, there's some really weird people down here. I'm not used to this. So it's I guess the point is that first of all, I want to congratulate you and Rex and Jordan and your second son's name again.
Parker.
That's right. The Parker, the hockey player, and I want to congratulate you first of all for being who you are. And by the way, I understand Rex is a heck of a cook, and
he is. Oh my God!
Like to have him on to talk about some recipes and that kind of stuff. And I want to follow Jordan as he makes his way through acting school and then is out in the world looking for work, and I know he's gonna get gigs. He's going to be somebody that we're going to see on TV and in the movies.
I believe that. I do believe that.
And so you are the new American family. When I was talking to Jordan the last time we talked, he was talking about his high school, which is Mariner, and that's a very diversified school as far as lots of different kids. And what gives me hope and what gives me joy is us old people and people of my age have got these problems. The kids, they don't care about any of that stuff.
These kids, and I can only speak to Jordan's community of kids that I knew, but these kids, and I've seen it in the high school students in Florida after their shooting, they have it right. They have it right. And they are going to change this world. They are good kids. They are smart. They have tenacity. They're going to change the world. I know they will. They pay attention to politics. I never paid attention to politics when I was 18 years old.
Didn't have to.
And you do have to. But they're getting involved. I mean, it's just that they're going to make a difference. And Trump needs to watch out because my son just turned 19, which means he can vote. And if my son turned 19, I know thousands of other kids did too.
There are 4 million kids will turn 18 before the election.
That's fantastic.
And they don't like liars either.
No.
And because I see kids talking amongst themselves, and it's a completely different world. Race and color means far less to them, most of them, than it does to the older generation. Which is why I'm really glad that people get older and die, because that's how change happens. And so from that on that positive note, come on, you old Republicans, get old and die, would you?
Yeah, right. It's one less vote for him.
Exactly right.
Sorry about your loss, but horrible, going to hell.
Well, but it's important to continue to laugh, but at the same time, it is important for us to get out and vote and to get people motivated to do that. And he doesn't recognize the fact that he is motivating a lot of people to, and especially people of color, to go out and vote against him, because he can't. For everybody that's listening, I'd like you to listen to this. If you think that he's bad now while he's facing re-election, wait until he wins re-election and doesn't have to worry about it anymore. You think now's weird? Right. Wait until then. It's going to be bizarre.
Right. Mhm.
So we can't let that happen.
No, we can't. We cannot.
So I believe that's Parker in the background saying, "Who are we talking
It
to?"
is Parker. Can you hear that? Who are you talking to?
Uh-huh. So, in any event,
did you hear me say something about being smart? He's like, "Am I smart?" Yes, you are very smart.
yes, he is, and he's a hell of a hockey player.
He is, yes.
So, by the way, it is dinner time for you at this point in time. So, I want to thank you. And by the way, I would like to do more podcasts with you.
I would love that.
The next time you're gonna bring somebody from the crisis hotline, and we're gonna talk about crisis in this country.
I cannot wait to introduce you to that world and those amazing people that help victims of crime and loved ones of crime. They're angels on earth.
Yes, they are. And you're right. The forgotten individual in our criminal justice system is the victim.
That's right.
So with that, I'd like to thank Kristen for being on the podcast today. Go to my Independence Report. I knew that. I'm tired. My Independence Report.podbean.com and listen to this. Listen to all of them. And Kristen is going to be a return guest because I've known each other for so long that she's just awesome, and your whole family is awesome. And I really hope,
thanks, Beth.
honey, I really hope that we can get to a day when you don't have to live in fear for your family.
That's the idea.
So that's what we're going to work for.
Let's do it.
So thank you very much. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
You're pretty awesome yourself, Kev. You've done a lot, and you even putting this out there on the radio waves for people is pretty amazing, and you never giving up on your dream. It always warms my heart, and I'm so glad to hear your voice again. So keep doing what you're doing. You got this.
I am so angry that I've been motivated to act because this is not the country I grew up in. This is not the country I want to live in. I want to live in a country where we are all Americans, we are all equal, and we all can get along, and nobody has to worry about somebody shooting each other. That's the country that I want to live in. And I'm going to work on that and invite incredible people like you and the people that you know that can help us carry that a little bit farther. Because we all want to live a positive life, and we all want to be able to sleep at night, and it's important. So, Kristen, thank you so much for being on the show.
You bet.
And remember, just take care of each other, take care of your family, and trust in who you really are, because nothing else matters. We'll see you next time on My Independence Report.